Welcome back. It is Saturday the 24th of January 2026 and we are back in the front bedroom of my house. I've had a few days off because I managed to catch a bug that seems to be sweeping the UK at the moment, so I thought I would just have a few days rest and just continue with the day job. Now, when we left off, this was the result of the wall. And after doing some research, what I'm actually going to do is I think I'm going to plasterboard this whole wall. So I want to try and retain the coving if possible because it's in pretty good condition. So what my plan for today is I'm going to angle grind a line just below the coving. We are then going to use the SDS, chip off this whole wall. I had a delivery of some more plasterboard, some more full sheets yesterday and some plasterboard adhesive. We're going to do loads of measuring, see where we're going to put our sockets, because we've got one there, but actually that's going to move a little bit over there, and we're going to have one there as well. So when the bed is there, there's a socket each side for a bedside table. And yeah, so first things first, I'm going to set up the angle grinder and grind that line. Oh, and the missus is going to use the wallpaper steamer. Just going to steam off this wallpaper on this wall, this wall, this wall, and here to about in line with the bottom of there, and because this is where our new staircase is going to go. And yeah, let's get set up and start doing some work. Right, so as you can see, we've done an angle grind, a line literally just underneath this coving, because there's not much of a lip there anyway. So what the plan is now is hopefully that means that we can chip all of this old plaster off without it damaging and cracking all of the coving along here. What you got to do is just take your time. As you can see here, I was stretched too much, so I was going off the line a little bit. But yeah, I'll set you up and we'll do some chiseling off. Right, so I am covered in dust. I'm pleased I had my dust mask on. But as you can see behind me, this wall has now been fully stripped. I've even done this little bit here that needed to happen. And as you can see, it hasn't damaged the coving. It broke right where I did the little relief cut all the way around. The only bit I need to do now is I need to remove this socket and this spur. I need to find out exactly where I'm going to put my new sockets. I also need to remove the old conduit. If you remember last week, this is where I put bonding in the wall where the old light switch was, and I've got this pole, this conduit. It doesn't matter what I do, it's not pulling down. So I've actually got a little trick that I'm going to show you, so stand by a second. Get yourself some pliers. These are the Nipex ones, and the teeth can grip onto it. So instead of it being this side where we've got the little push button bit, we're going to turn it the other way so that we don't damage these pliers. And then what I'm going to do, so not this way with the button, the opposite way, I'm going to put that on the conduit. Just tighten that up a little bit. Now hold that nice and tight, and then literally keep doing that, and eventually you'll pull the whole thing through the ceiling, hopefully without damaging anything. But I'll keep doing that, and I'll show you how it looks in a second. So this is that conduit pole. About a minute later, that come out. That's what people used to use. These are metal, and at least that's off the wall, and that won't be in our way moving forward. Right, so since I last videoed, I've SBR'd the wall, so you can see it's a darker colour now because it's sealed. SBR is kind of like PVA but on steroids, and it's perfect for sealing and bonding stuff too. It saves the dry wall sucking all of the moisture out of the adhesive. I've then dry fit these 3 boards. I've just put them on a couple of bits of wood and a bit of plasterboard, and then the floor drops, or the ceiling gets higher, or the floor drops there. So I've just put a 6mm packer underneath it. And what we're trying to do is maintain the line at the top. That's the difficult bit, is making sure that it's not sticking out past the coving. So what I've done is I've just held these in place with some fascia nails. I've just numbered them 1, 2 and 3 and what direction they're going to be going, just in case I get them mixed up, which hopefully I shouldn't. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each board down, and I'm actually going to dot and dab each board as I go, or the wall as I go. I've never done it before, and I think that if I don't have the adhesive on the wall, I'm not worried about rushing and trying to get to the next one too quickly. So I think I bought the adhesive upstairs, but I'm actually going to do it outside. I'm going to mix the adhesive, come up, put some dabs on this, or dots, or whatever the hell you call it, put some adhesive on the wall. I'm going to do a perimeter of each board, and then I'm going to do some in the middle, and I'm going to make them quite thin, because one thing I noticed is that even though the plaster was like 30mm thick down here, down this end it went down to about 10mm, and so I only need to do a thin bead round there. Hopefully that's good enough, and it should still adhere okay to the board and the wall. But yeah, we don't know until we give it a go. But you can see how much better that looks already just by having them dry fitted onto the wall. Yeah, let's mix some adhesive. Right, so managed to mix up my adhesive, which pretty much burnt out my SDS drill because it's not powerful enough to spin 25 kilos of adhesive with water. As you can see, I've taken the plasterboards off. I've marked where the edge of each plasterboard is, and all I did with that was I literally used an offcut of plasterboard and just went down the side of the board like that. So now we're going to do our first one, little test one. Let's put some adhesive on the wall over here and see how we get on. I'll put it on time lapse, so if it fails you can see me fail. Right, so it is the end of the day. What time is it? Oh yeah, it's 4:45 on the Saturday. I'm exhausted. I was out here just before 9, but we have managed to get the 3 full boards on this wall. Now, they are not going to be perfectly plumb, because if I put them perfectly plumb, they'll be sticking out at the top because there's not a lot of room. Now, when I got to the last board, this is the one that I had a little bit of problems with, because the wall, if I show you from this way, this wall goes, instead of going up and down, it goes back like that. And so what I've done is I've had to pack out the edge of the plasterboard with some other plasterboard, and I've left it out hanging out here. I can always trim that back with a multi-tool, but I'll probably leave that in place for the last sliver that I need to put in tomorrow. But what I was mainly hoping for, which is when I put the level on like that, that there is no big gap from end to end, which means that the wall is nice and straight. I've done that between all three. That's where I noticed that this one had sucked into the wall. It was fine at the top. As you can see, we've still got the little reveal there, which I'm hoping is going to stay or become flush, but it doesn't matter if it becomes flush. But yeah, so lots of work. Tucks up nice into this corner. I know I want to have a go at plastering, but I think a 3.8 meter long wall, probably not my the best first go. So I'll get a plasterer in. They can skim this wall. While they're here, they can skim all of the bay as well. I've already got the angle beads there. They got delivered yesterday with the plasterboard. So tomorrow, first job's doing the cutting out the piece for here, cutting out the piece for here, dabbing, dobbing, you know, dot and dabbing that to the wall. And then hopefully I'm going to move on to taking this radiator off, and then we can repair the bit of wall behind, and the plasterer can completely plaster all of the bay, giving us some lovely reveals ready for our window boards. And yeah, still got a couple of sheets of plasterboard there. Have got an off cut of a full sheet there as well, which is probably what I'm going to use for one of these here, whatever it's biggest for. But yeah, thank you for watching, appreciate it. Yeah, see you tomorrow.